Okay, we're up to the Mishnah on Chaf Dalit Amid Days. The bottom line, it's a long Mishnah. It's a very famous Mishnah, and one of the most well-known incidents to take place in all of Shas. Most of the well-known incidents where Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya had a machlokus as to when exactly Rosh Hashanah was, and Rabbi Gamliel made Rabbi Yeshua come on his cheshbon of Yom Kippur. Right? Go ahead, and we'll see it says the Mishnah. Ma'aser shebo shnayim, two Edom came. The Yomru, when they said, Rohinu Shachris b'Mizrach. We saw the Levana, we saw the Moilid, Shachris in the Mizrach, the Arvis b'Ma'ariv, and we saw it in the evening, we saw it in Arvis in the evening, we saw it in the west. Now, let's just go back in time. You might recall the old moon, the new moon is a 24-hour span between 6 and 18. If you're in Bavel, it was 6:18. If in Eretz Yisrael, it was 18:6. In other words, but there's a 24-hour gap where the sun is the moon is in between the earth and the sun, and you're not getting any rays. So says the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, Eidei Shekaheim. Says Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, they're Eidei Sheka. It's not possible to have seen it because then in that period of time you couldn't have possibly seen it. Rashi doesn't like this pshat. Rashi says it's speaking about the new moon. It's not speaking about the one before and after, because the 24-hour period. It's speaking about the new moon, but the new moon to travel such a distance from east to west in one day, it's not possible. So therefore, Rabbi Yochanan said it's 80 sheker. Kishabo li'avne, when they came to Yavne, Kibla Rabbi Gamliel. Rabbi Gamliel was makabel them. He went and said, Rabbi Gamliel said it works. V'oid bo shnayim v'amru ro'inu b'mizbanoi. We saw it bismanoi on the 30th day, the 30th day. Belel ubeleli buroi, and the 30th by night. We didn't see it. The kiblu Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Gamliel makabel them. So I'm Rabbi Doisa ben Hurkinis, Eidei Shekaheim. Why? How's it possible for it to be there and not be there? How's it? What's the tzushtel? That the woman gave birth. So you saw the Moilid. And the next day she's pregnant again. So here you saw the Moilid, and now it's not there anymore. Right? It's what's going on over here now. And what does the Gemara say? Rabbi Gamliel nonetheless was makabel them. The kibble Rabbi Gamliel, he was makabel. So what's the cheshbon, guys? What's the cheshbon? So it's a beautiful cheshbon. We said it yesterday that you said of Rabbi Chananel, right? It was of Rabbi Bachya. They knew. Rabbi Gamliel knew. He knew. So there was a problem with what? With the mechanics. Als the cheshbon, he knew. So Memela, he did it. The Edom were okay. We saw they used to go ahead and they forced the Edom to say it earlier. They knew b'cheshbon that it's such an important yisoid in the whole sugya.
It's not encouraging Edom to lie. I mean,
not lie again. You again. It's the best that you're not telling them to lie. You're saying they saw something. Rach said they saw something. It's not that they didn't see anything. We saw Rabbi Chananel earlier that the Meyayim, the Edom, we convinced them they saw something. It might have been a planet, it might have been a star. We say, no, it was the moon. But it's not telling them he didn't see anything. It's such an important yisoid in the whole sugya that they knew the cheshbon. They knew the cheshbon. Nice sefer, Susi Chachamim. I had it, I found it. I can't believe I found it. I had it. It's an old sefer on Rosh Hashanah. And he goes through every single line by line by line. He says beautifully. So he says that he knew, right? No one else knew. So it happened to be. What happened is that could be Shema Anan Dak, a small cloud. Maybe the level of going to Lamed Aleph covered it up, but he knew b'cheshbon. So therefore, it's like that's a very important likud over here. He knew b'cheshbon. Okay, now we get into very interesting. Amaloi Rabbi Yeshua, Rayanias Devarecha. I agree with Rabbi Doisa ben Hurkinis. That how could you have seen it? Now it's not here anymore. How could a woman give birth and it's not here anymore? Shalach Rabbi Gamliel. Rabbi Gamliel said the following: Gazrani Alecha, I'm geyser on you. Shetavai etzli b'makalcha, with your stick, over my secha, and with your money pouch. B'yom kippur shechal yis b'cheshbonecha, right? That it's chal in your cheshbon. Now, it's very important to put out that Rabbi Gamliel had one kivin and one kivin alone. Chas v'shalom, that there should be a period in Klal Yisrael and machlokas arise. Beautiful pshat. He makes Rabbi Yeshua come. Why didn't he make Rabbi Doisa ben Hurkinis come, guys? Why didn't he make Rabbi Doisa ben Hukinis? Rabbi Doisa ben Hukinis is the one who told him, how's it possible to give birth and then be pregnant? Yet he didn't make him come. And the answer is because Rabbi Yeshua was the Av Bezdin and Rabbi Gamliel was the Nasi. And can you imagine the period that would happen? Right? It's so important. I just remember a beautiful, beautiful Sefer HaChinuch. Guys, there's a very famous Gemara. The Gemara by Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua Taked and the end of in Bab Mitzia, at the end of Perek Azov, with the Tana Rachsanoi. Guys, you know the Tana. They had machlokas about the Tana that was like a snake. And Rabbi Eliezer said it's Tahar, and they said Tameh, and they asked Hashem. He goes, Allah look at Rabbi Eliezer, and Yeshua gets up, Torah Lev Shemayim he, and what happens? And Rosh Hashanah laughs. That's a mud in the Gemara, right? But the Chinuch says such a beautiful pshat, such a beautiful pshat. He says, the Rebbeinu Shalom would rather than blow it once and be consistent for all time than what? Then machloikis begin like this. We have a rule. Torah lebishmaim. In this case, you're wrong. Because Baruch Hu's laughing. Look how far they're about to go on a limb to keep Torah. Because once the Torah gets, guys, think about all the machloikis we have since the machloikis b'sham b'syllable. You do smich or not. That was the first machloikis, right? Can you imagine one time there's no machloikis? Man, you can't imagine that, right? You guys can imagine. So that'd be beautiful pshat in this Gemara. Why Rabbi Gamliel did what he did? Why Rabbi Gamliel did what he did? I heard today that Rabbi Gamliel was such a soft, kind person. They broke Gemaras. He was so. There was a Gemara, he was crying. The woman was crying. She was every night she would cry, and he would come out and he would cry with her till his eyelashes fell out. I mean, he was so Chas v'Shalom thing is he's this hard guy. He wasn't this hard guy. But you read these Gemaras, you can portray him as a hard guy. He wasn't. Adarabba. All he cared about was the Shem Shemayim. There shouldn't be a machlokas in Klal Yisrael. That's all he cared about. He didn't want a machlokas in Klal Yisrael, and that's the hakpada over here. So therefore, he told him, "Dafka kam on Yom Kippur on your cheshbon." Halachu matzah Rabbi Akiva. As we can see, Rabbi Akiva found Rabbi Yeshua his Rebbe, and Meitzah, and Yeshua was in pain. Can you imagine being machal Yom Kippur? Amaloi. Said Rabbi Akiva to Rabbi Yeshua, you can learn the following. Whatever Rabbi Gamliel Asi is good. He did the right thing. If they call it out, the Bezdin calls it out. That's the one we have. In other words, don't worry about it. If you have to go, he was Mikrei Kodesh. He's the Av Bezdin, as we saw Moshe yesterday. Moshe Av Bezdin. He called it out, and that's it. And don't worry about a cheshbon. Now, Bolei Eitzel Reb Doisa ben Hukinus. Now Rabbi Yeshua comes to Rabbi Doisa ben Hukinus. Amaloi in Boyin Anu Lodan Acha Bezdina Shel Rabbi Gamliel said Rabbi Doisa to Rabbi Yeshua, if we're going to go ahead and start questioning the Bezdin Rabbi Gamliel, then any Bezdin you begin to question any psak from the time of Moshe. So a very nice diak over here. L'chaira, how could you go to another Bezdin? You just spoke to Rabbi. You get one psak from one person, from Rabbi Akiva. How are they able now to go ahead and go to Rabbi Doisa ben Hukinas? Well, Paship Pshat, guys, is he didn't go to Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva came to him. He didn't go. You can't pick and choose. He didn't go to Rabbi Akiva for Pesach. Rabbi Akiva came to him. That's one way they learn. Or in this case, he gave a reason. He wanted a svara. He had a Messiah on Rabbi Akiva's limud. He didn't have a Messiah in that, which is shver. Have a kash on this whole sugi. We'll see the kash. I'll throw out my kash. Let's see if you have a teretz. Okay. Anyway, so now he comes to Rabbi Akinas, who had agreed with him, guys. He had agreed with him, and now he says the bottom line is we have to go ahead and not question the Bezdin, because anytime Shenemar it says Vayal Moshe ve'Aaron Nadav Avihu Shivim Miziknei Yisrael. Moshe ve'Aaron Nadav Avihu and Shivim Miziknei. These are the Messiah guys. These are the people who got the direct Messiah. We don't know who they are. Why don't we say who are they? Any one of these three, they have a din of a bezdin. Any one of these three, they have a din of bezdin. Sha'amdu Bezdin al Yisrael, Harihu Kibez Dina Shal Moshe. They mamish have what? Distinguished as Moshe Rabbeinu. And that's why we don't say their names. Not to Makloi Moisa, Rabbi Yadai, Rabbi Yeshua took his walking cane and his money belt in his hands, and he went B'halach Liyavne, Eitzel Rabbi Gamliel. B'yoim Shechal Yom Kippur Liyos B'cheshbonai on the Yom Kippur of his cheshbon. Amar Rabbi Gamliel v'Noshkal Rosh Rabbi Gamliel stood up, and what was his reaction? He kissed him on his head. Amaloi Ba B'Shalom Rabbi v'Talmidei. He called him Rabbi. He called him Rabbi and my Talmud. Rabbi b'Chachma, Rabbi in wisdom. The Talmidei shekibalti estavari that you makabel my words. In other words, this is going to, by you coming here, we're going to see in the Yom Beis, you're going to stop any suffix whatsoever, any doubt whatsoever. But you're giving credence and credibility to my bestin. There won't be, think about nowadays, guys. Right? Think about when Moshe was alive. Think about what's happened since the death of my. No one dared carry. You never saw a Jew carry ever. You never saw a Jew carry. Moshe's nifta, and it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's a Shrek. It's a Shrek. How the Yerida of Klal Yisrael began with Moshe, and I'll go out on a limb. And the death of Rav Belsky, terrible. These are people who people listen to, people of stature, literally of stature. I'm saying, yeah. So that's the importance of this sugya to go ahead. The importance of the sugya to keep the credibility of Bezdin. Okay, beautiful Gemara. Tanya. I'm not going to be chachamim. Kach mekublani mebeis abi abba. L'chayra. Rabbi Gamliel says I was makabel from my grandfather. Right? Pa'amim sheba ba'arucha, pa'amim sheba b'ksara. You know what? This is why Rashi says it can't be speaking about the moilid before and afterwards. The Yeshon is always very small, so it's very difficult to say it's long. So Rashi says it's speaking about the new moon, which sometimes takes a long time to get there and sometimes a short time to get there. In other words, you want to know how it can go, guys, how it can go. It's not speaking about the moon. It's speaking about the time moon can travel, according to Rashi. It's speaking about the new moon. How did it get from the east to the west? Sometimes it takes shorter, sometimes longer. That's what Rashi says. It's not speaking about the old moon, because the old moon is small. It waned all the way to the end. So therefore, Rashi has problems thinking it's speaking about the old moon. Therefore, must be speaking about the new moon. And the question is, how did it travel so far? I got a Kabbalah that sometimes it can travel that far. And I really don't think he's giving them, what's he answering them? If he has a cheshbon over here, so what's he telling them? He has a cheshbon. He has a cheshbon. He has a cheshbon. So he has to go ahead and come up with a reason. He has a cheshbon. Okay. Says the Gemara weiter. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, my timer the Bei Rebbe, the Bei Rebbe will be a better gersa, guys, right? We don't have Rebbe here. My timer, if you look on the side, it says on my side. Look, you probably have a number there. My timer the Rebbe Gamliel, the Chsiv. It says Asa Yareach Lamayadim Shemesh Yadam Avoy. And what's the drasha? Shemesh who the yadim avoy. You know the shemesh when it comes. Yereich lo yadim avoy. You don't know the mavoy of the levana, how it goes, and therefore what it could move. Reb Chia chazir l'sahara. Reb Chia saw the moon. The havikoi b'tzafra de esrim b'tisha. He saw it on the 29th in the morning. He saw it on the 29th morning. Now, we have got a problem over here. We want to see. 29 in the morning. He saw it. It's gonna again, and he wants it to come later, right? He says you should come back in the evening. So shakal kala, he took a piece of dirt, pasuk bay, and he threw it at the moon. We need to mekadesh you in the evening, not now. What are you doing here now? We want right. So go ahead, Wad, and cover yourself up. This was we wanted, guys. We wanted to fool around with Elul. We don't want Yom Kippur to be after Shabbos. So we wanted to make it a day later. So he says, you're here early. So Amalei Rebbe Rav Chia, Zil Ein Tav, go to the place called Ein Tav, the Kadshe Yiracha, and Mekadesh over there. Now, you can't do it over here because people are seeing the moon over here. So go there where they didn't see the moon. V'shalach li simana, and he sent to me the siman, David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Kayam Send me that simon. This is why we say by Kiddush Levana, we say David Melech Shal Chavik Hayam. David Melech's, his Malchus is, David is compared to the moon. The pasuk says, Ki Yerech Yichain Olam. The pasuk says, Ki Yerech Yichain Olam. It's a pasuk in Tehillim. I think it's in Sadik Tes, or it's a Pei Tes. It's a pasuk there in Tehillim in Pei Tes. And David is compared to the moon. David's compared to the moon, a very nice pshat I saw. Guys, what does the moon do? The moon, you don't see it, then it flourishes, and then you'll see it again. So too the Malchus of David, right? Bez Hashem. It's gone, but Bez Hashem, we'll see it again. So it's compared to the moon, and send me this siman. One time the Shemayim it got cloudy. The nearest the Muslavona be'esrim b'tishul l'chaydesh. They saw it on the 29th day. Kisvur mam loymar v'yish chaydesh ubikshu bezin l'katshay. Amlam Gamliel Kachma Koblanim Beis Aviava Ein Chidush Shalavona. Now again, this is an example of a cheshbon. You couldn't possibly be on the 29th early in the day. Why? Ein Chidush Shalavona Pchusa Me'esrim V'Tisha Yoim 29 days Umechza Ushnei Shlisha Shah and 6 2/3 of an hour. The Ayin Gimel Chalakim and 72 Chalakim. Okay, so that day, guys, so it was too early. Rabbi Gamliel said it's too early. So therefore it can't be. The mother of Ben Zaza died. And Rabbi Gamliel made a big hesped. It seemed that Rashi says that it must have been Rosh Chodesh Tishrei. There must have been Rosh Chodesh Tishrei. You don't make a. And or places other Farshim say Stamazai. The Rashad says on Rosh Chodesh you can't say a hesped on Rosh Chodesh. So why was he maspit to go ahead and be madgish? It's not Rosh Chodesh. It's too early. It can't be Rosh Chodesh. It's too early, and therefore he made this hesped. Not that she's right for this hesped, to have the nasi make a hesped for her, but nonetheless. Halach Rabbi Akiva and Meitza. Ibailu mi Meitza. Who was in pain? Rabbi Akiva Meitza, Rabbi Shua Meitza. Toshma Tanya. Halach Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva went. Umatz Rabbi Yeshua kishu meitza. He found Rabbi Yeshua in pain. So he answers up. The Brisa answers up the Mishnah that is in pain. Amalei Rabbi. So said Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Yeshua. Fneima atameitza. Why are you in pain? So Amalei said Akiva. Roy loy sheyipa lamita yubes chodesh. I'd rather be sick for 12 months. I'll yigzer love gezerah zu. Have this gezerah that I have to come to him on. Yom Kippur. Amalei Rabbi. Now, here's my problem. Give me rishus to tell you something that you taught me. Amaloi Emar. So say it. Samloi Hari Oimer. It says 3 times it says 3 times Oisam. It says Oisam, Tikroi Sam. It says 3 times Oisam, fellas. Oisam is written chaser. So you know how you can pronounce it? Atem. You can pronounce it. Look at it. You can pronounce it Atem. So Oisam. Gimel Pamim. Oisam afilu shaygin or atem, even if you're shaygeg. Atem afilu mezidim, even if you blow up a mezid. Atem afilu mutayim, even if a sheka come. B'lashon hazel amalei akiva nechamtani. You've gone ahead, Rod, and you've gone ahead and you have comforted me. Here's my kasha. In the Mishnah, he was tzibrachim, right? And Rabbi Akiva told him, "Eila mikroya, Eila moila shemikroya kodesh tikroy sam. Famous man mishlav man." Good. So what did he do? He went for a psak to who? To Rav Doisa ben Hukinis. He went for a psak. Now in our Gemara, he's telling him a pasuk and he's makabelet. But he said something that you taught me. So l'chayr, you knew it all along. So why is he what? Tzibrachim. I don't know what it means. In other words, Bishleim, if Rabbi Akiva is telling Midrasha that he never heard before. But look what he said, guys. Amalei Rabbi, Tersheni Laima, give me permission Lefanecha to say something. Davarecha Shalamaratani, that you taught me. That's what it means. But L'chaira, if he taught him, so why was he in pain that he has to show up on Yom Kippur on his cheshbon? He had a heta. He taught him the heta.
I don't know if it's a little dokuk, but maybe you could say that he taught him that it's a chaser, therefore it's atem, But how to darshan the atem, he didn't teach him.
Maybe. And again, the Sefer doesn't say anything. He says, I am brachas samach beis amid aleph, Tanya Rabbi Akiva pamachas nechnas the echad of Yeshua, ayin sham tirsheni lashon. But he doesn't address the question. Doesn't address the question. So it's.
I would think to have to violate Kippur.
Yeah.
You need some. It's a tremendous thing to do.
Right.
You need to be consoled.
Yeah, for sure. But Rabbi Akiva l'chayra told him Yehuda something that he had taught Rabbi Akiva. So if he had taught it, and now he says, "I'm comforted by it." You told me, Rabbi Akiva, I'm comforted by it. So if he was comforted by it, why was he bothered by it in the first place if he taught it to him? Unless he forgot. I don't know. I don't know. You hear the aura, guys. You hear the aura. It's a pasha aura. It's a pasha aura. Okay. Says the more Vaita. So now he's going. So Bala Eitzel Rabbi Doisa ben Hakin is telling about Lamalin is Parsha Shmaisim Shalzgan. So he told him Rabbi Doisa ben Hakin has told him this wonderful pshat from we mentioned Moshe, and we mentioned Aaron, and we mentioned Nadav, and we mentioned Avihu, and we mentioned 70 Zakanim. We don't know who they are, right? And we said why? We said because to say that what any bezdin of three of is a bezdin. Why do we explain the names of these Zakanim? A person should not say Pliny Kamosha v'Aaron, Pliny Kanadav Avihu, Pliny Ke'eldad u'Meidad. That's who are you? You're some hedget. You're nobody. You're not a big cheese. You're not somebody special. So by not sending a name, you're stressing that what? Right? It doesn't make a difference. None is parshu. Anybody, any dayan. But Yomi Shmuel al-Am. Shmuel goes to the people. This is Shmuel. Shmuel is going ahead. He's putting himself up for judgment. Right? He seemed to be at the time, the dayan at the time, before he would leave office, would put himself up for judgment. Moshe did it before he died. Shmuel did it before he died. That he didn't abuse his position. So what did he say? Shmuel al-Am. Hashem asher ases Moshe. Hashem that made Moshe. Ve'es Aaron. Ve'omer vayishlach Hashem es Yerubbaal. He sent Hashem Yerubbaal. That's Gideon. Ve'es Bidon. That's Shimshon. Ve'es Yiftach. K'mashmoi. Ve'es Shmuel. Yerubbaal is Gideon. V'lo nukar Shmo Yerubbaal. Shasam Merivim Abal. He made a fight with the Avodah Zarah Baal. Bidon. Zu Shimshon. V'lo nukar Shmo Bidon. The Yasam Idon because it came from Don. Yiftach K'mashmoi. And Yiftach K'mashmoi. Ve'omer Moshe v'Aaron b'chayna Shmuel b'krei Shmoi. So now you guys, you have a lineup. I got three. Shakal HaKosar Shleisha Kalei Olam, Yerubbaal, Yiftach, and Shimshon. Kishleisha Chamura Olam, Moshe, Aaron, and Shmuel. Loi Melacha, Yerubbaal B'dorei, K'Moshe B'dorei. B'don B'dorei, K'Aaron B'dorei. Yiftach B'dorei, K'Shmuel B'dorei. Yiftach B'dorei, that's the one you know, right? So what does it say B'don? What does it say Shimshon? Guys, very Geshmak Pshat. Shimshon wasn't a cow. Shimshon judged Klal Yisrael for 20 years. He wasn't a kal. The only kalas of Shimshon was a shavit. Shavit Don was known as the Ovdi Avodah Zarah. They went after Pesel Micha. So when the Gemara now is stressing Dan, Shimshon was this is the shavit he came from. That's his any kalos, any low part of him. It's the shavit, but the etzem ish is not right. Yiftach was no great Talmud Chacham. We know Yiftach, the Ma'aser with his daughter, with Pinchas. What happened to the daughter? But anyway, l'chal pachas. That's the Gemara. The bottom line, what's the bottom line of the Gemara? The bottom line is, you have to go after the Bezdin in your generation. Yiftach B'dei Shmuel. Who is it? It's a very Geshmaka line. My Rabbi, guys, this is a great story. Guys, listen to the story. Zvulun Schwartzman lost his parent. He lost his, I think he lost his mother. I'm not sure who. So Rosh Hashiva went to Menachem Avel. And there was a Rosh Hashiva there. There was another Rosh Hashiva there. And Rosh Hashiva was said over his pshat. But she had a very famous pshat. He said that, what does it say in Eichad? Yisoimim hayinu ve'einav. We're Yisoimim, we don't have a father. Frag the Rosh Hashiva, of course you don't have a father, you're Yasam. It seems redundant. So Rosh Hashiva said, he goes, there's two Yisoimim. There's Yasam was gezein the tata, and the Yasam was nicht gezein the tata. A Yasam that saw the father, and a Yasam that didn't see the father. A Yasam that saw the father is a halva Yasam. A Yasam that didn't see the father is, anyway. So he was saying that, like Nebuch, but you saw your father. Anyway, there was a Rosh Hashiva sitting there, I don't know, big Rosh Hashiva, and he said, Rosh Hashiva, what are you talking about? Yiftach b'doira, kishmul b'doira, whoever you have, that's the gadol, right? Even if you didn't see it. So Rosh Hashiva said to him in Yiddish, Ich euchit gleich kovid, of fart dach bezoga the emes. I also like kovid, but you got to tell the truth. He said that this Rosh Hashiva became Achmi himself from Gusman. He said, like, he was blown away. Ich euchit gleich kovid, before dach bezoga the emes. Gewaldig. Okay, Yiftach b'doira kishmul, that's Yiftach b'doira. Okay. Are you learning it? You're in the restaurant? What are you eating? Shafilu kal shebekal shenis benismana parnis ala tzibur harihu ke'abish shebabir means like the most chashuv of the chashuv. V'oimer, it says ubasa ela kahanim alaviyim. This guy's a very famous pasuk, and should come to the kahanim alaviyim v'la shoyfet ashayiyah b'yam mehein that are in your days. Chisal al daitcha she'adam hoylech etzel adayin shlohay b'yamav. You can't go to somebody's not in your days. It's called eno eloat. Hayin lecha leilech ela etzel shoyfet shebemeimav. V'oimer al toimer mahi shayom rishonim hayu toivim geila. What are you supposed to say? That you're supposed whoever's there, that's the one you got. We can bemoan the fact that Rabbi Moshe is not here, but whoever we have, we have. Natul makol moisav b'yadai. He took his makol. He took his money b'yadai. Taner Rabbanan. Kivan shara oisai. Amad, he stood up. Make hisai from his chair. V'nashku al roishai. Rabbi Gamliel kissed Rabbi Yeshua on his head. Amaloi said to him, Shalom alecha Rabbi v'talmidai. Rabbi, Shalom alatani tvay Rabbi Rabbim. I taught tvay Rabbim. V'talmidai shayin ani goizer alecha gezerah v'yatem mekayim. I made a gezerah and you were mekayim gezerah. Ketalmid, right, like a talmid. Ashrei ador she'agedolim nishmayim lekatanim. Fortunate is the generation of the gedolim are listened to by the katanim. Kavachayim v'katanim legedolim. That the katanim legedolim. Kavachayim achiv. It's a chiv to listen. Since the Gedolim are heard by the Katanim, nice and Katanim Kalvachayim and Vatzman, they make a Kalvachayim by themselves. In other words, if the Gadol listens to me, certainly I have to listen to him. So if the Gadol, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Gamliel, listen to the Cotton, certainly the Cotton has to listen to him. Okay, next parak is the most famous parak in Rosh Hashanah. This is the one they learn in Yeshiva. It's the sugi of Shaifer. It's Mamish deals with Rosh Hashanah. But we begin nonetheless with going through the same din of Kiddush HaChodesh. Ro'u Bezdin b'chol Yisrael. Bezdin and all of Klal Yisrael see the Levana on the 30th. On the 30th. Now, Nechgura Eidim, you check out the Eidim. The Havamin of the Gemara, guys, is this is one clause. The Havamin of the Gemara is this one clause. Nechgura Eidim, you check out the Eidim. As we're going to see, Inami Nechgura Eidim. It's a whole different case. Okay? It's a whole different case. But right now in the Havamina, it's one thing. Why do you need Eidim? Everyone saw. Anyway, and they didn't get a chance to say Mekudesh until it became dark. It is Ma'uba automatically. Rosh Chodesh is going to be on 31. You know the Levana was on 30. You know Rosh Chodesh was on 30. The Cheshbon was on 30. But if you didn't Mekadesh al Yedei Re'iyas and I got this Edis, it's going to be automatically on the 31st. Ro'u Bezdin Bilvad. Let's say Bezdin alone sees it, no one else. Yamdu Shnayim, two people from Bezdin should stand up. V'ya'idu b'fneihem and testify in front of Bezdin. V'yomra mekudesh mekudesh. And those members of Bezdin who the ones sitting there should say mekudesh mekudesh. In other words, the people around the members. Ro'u Shloisha v'hein Bezdin. Three people and they are Bezdin. Yamdu Ashnayim v'yeshivu mechavereim. Then now, in the first case, you had all the Bezdin saw. Over here, you only have three people. So two of the three stand up. You have one left. Get two Yeshiv Mechavereim. Get two Dayanim over there. Eitzel Hayachid versus, to join the one of the three, right? Vaye'idu b'fneim and testify in front of them. V'yomru, and they said Mekudesh Mekudesh. She'ena Yachid Neman al Yidei Atzma. Yachid's not Neman al Yidei. In other words, a Yachid Mumcha is not believed. You need two members of Bezdin to join that sole remember. You can't go ahead. What? We said you do have to say it. Mikroi Kodesh, Lashon Mikroi, right? Mikroi, Lashon Rabbim, Mekudesh. No, Lamali lemisli Ru Bezdin. Again, Mer Machloikas. Lomali lemisni ru'u bezdin b'chol Yisrael. Why do you have to go ahead and say ru'u bezdin b'chol Yisrael? Why do you have to say bezdin b'chol Yisrael? So it's a chiddush. Sakla I mean a hoyel ru'u bezdin b'chol Yisrael. If it's some law, it's mefursim, it's known. V'loy lebrua, and you shouldn't go ahead and make it on the 31st. Kamash malon, that since you didn't get a chance to go ahead and say mekudesh, it's going to be on the 31st. Fred Gemara v'kivim the tanelei ru'u bezdin b'chol Yisrael nechkru edom lamali. Since you said bezdin b'chol Yisrael, why do you have to go ahead and say nechkru edom? Right? If everyone saw it, why do you need edis? Guys, everyone saw it. Call Yisrael. What's the purpose of nechkru edim? To make sure that they saw it. Everyone did see it. Again, this is the half meaning of the Gemara. The half meaning of the Gemara is it's one case. What's the teretz? Hachi kamar. Inami nechkru edim v'leispeak mekudesh et. No, it's two separate cases. The first case is Ru'u Bezdin and V'chol Yisrael. Stop, and they didn't get a chance to go ahead and be mekadesh it. Next case, a regular case, nechkru edim. You check them out; they turn out to be good edim, and you still get a chance to go ahead and be mekadesh to say mekudesh at night. Fred Gemara harizem uber automatically. Fred Gemara v'kivim the tana at shecha harizem uber lomel lemisnei chakiras edim klal. Once you see it's totally in what in darkness, who cares about chakiras edim? Once it's late, it's late. And if it's there, sometimes I would say the following: chakiras edim kitchilas din. I would say checking into the edim is like the beginning of the din. Umekudesh is gemar din. That is the din of gemar din. Ulakadesh belayla, and therefore, since the haskalas adin began during the day, and the gemar din was at night, I would think you could complete it and say that the 30th day is Rosh Chodesh. Why would I say that? Maybe you have a dinei mamanis. Perhaps it's like dinei mamanis. What do we know about dinei mamanis? That nan dinei mamanis done in b'yoyim. You can judge dinei mamanis what during the day. We go in Balayla and have the Gemara din at night. So too over here, the Chakiris Edom during the day and the announcement at night. Hachanami Mekachim Balayla, Kemash Malon, that you don't say that. Fred Gemara Vemachanami, why not? It's a very good svara. Great svara. Let's say it's what? Since the Aschalos Hadin began during the day, you should be able to be Kaddish it at night. Amakra, the Pasuk says, Ki Chaychli Yisrael, who? Mishpa Lalakei Yaakov. Amos have a chayk. When is it considered a chayk? That's begemar din. The kakari le rachmana mishpat, and the Torah calls the chayk mishpat, my mishpat b'yoyim, just like the mishpat during the day. Avhacha, so too over here, since it's called chak, and during the day, the gemar din is considered part of the day, and therefore what you can't go. The chakiras edim will not be enough, even though you began during the day. Okay, we'll stop over.